ታወት ማለት ክብሪው ስላለው ንገና እዚ ይጽሕፉ እዚ ይልካል ማንሰው ይግለጽ ካህን ጥራይ ብቻ ላይ ምስጥሩ ልፈልጦ
The ark disappeared and we do not know what happened to it.
What one finds curious is what the ark is all about.
It is Epiphany. First of all, you must be washed yourself.
This is the story of one of the keepers of the ark. By 300 BC, there was already a flourishing African civilization in Ethiopia. The ruler of this kingdom was called Queen Sheba or Makeda. She visited the Jewish king Solomon, and together they had a son called Menelik I. Mother and son returned to Ethiopia soon after. On attaining manhood, Menelik was taken by the queen to meet his father. After the visit, they returned to Ethiopia with the Ark of the Covenant, a coveted artifact that is considered holy by Judaism and Christianity as a whole. Legend has it that Menelik and Queen Sheba basically stole the Ark and had to hide it somewhere in their capital city, Axum. By 434 AD, two kings, actually twins, Abraha and Atzbeha, had built magnificent rock churches on the hills of Tigray as places of worship and monuments where replicas of the original ark were and are presumed to be kept. In a town named after the two twin kings, Abraha Watzbeha, 530 kilometers north of Addis Ababa, one finds the first church that Abraha and Atzbeha built in 434 AD. This church was the first of about 120 other churches built in the Tigray region. It's carved entirely from rock, and not a single stone block was used. These types of churches were built on rock cliffs, hidden from any strangers, since they were the hiding places of the ark. In here, one of the custodians of this amazing African heritage still stands guard. This is the story of one of the keepers of the ark.
ملاك الجناز حارس مراتي بحر سمي كان لجنا عرمين لجنا تسان حمشتيو سرح إلى لجنا حدا من أبي كريستيان ورها صام حدارية تيجي سرعتين يوم حضروا مالتيو كأول لجنا بحر الشاي كان حارس يبلع مالتي.
Father Gennett has served in this church for more than 40 years, starting off as a deacon and now a priest and church administrator.
أشيتينا ولدنا تمرتي يا قدمي لهم نورنا زي بوتازي كهنات يوم نيرم نالت كهنات بتهم ولدنا مسرت أم هيرومنا يا تهنجنا إجابير في كريستيان قال بس أنا نالتي كهنات مهابي مسلت أنا إجابير لها بنعدل أنا اللي جاري مسجوني عبي عدل هي وني يلبس عبي ترجع هي ونعدل يلبس عبي ترجع عبي خبره هي وني تمسجني إلى الفترية مسجونة مالتي.
At the center of the church is the Holy of Holies, the inner sanctuary where the mysterious Ark of the Covenant is kept and the presumed centerpiece of this magnificent ancient structure.
ታወት ማለት ክብርዩ ስዕል አለው እንደገና እዚ ይጽሕፉ እዚ ይልካል ማነሳው ይግለጽ ካህን ጥራይ ብቻ ላይ ምስጢሩ ልፈልጦ
The mystery of the ark is the object of our story, but this man who looks after the ark intrigues our interest even more.
بسرعة حمشتنا أدميت مرعية كاو 4 قلعة وليد الله حنتي اللي فقد اللي جابرنا لحنتي اللي فقده حنتي يا سيتي مالتي هو تخكليتي هجينا ولدنا تركبنا للا مالتي هذه يا تنفرق ولدنا وسكول الله تنفرق እንደገና ያው እዚህ የሃይማኖት ንጻንሐና ولدنا ዲቁና ቅስና ቀደም ትል ጥራይ ቅስና ዲቁና ይኔሩ
Father Gennett has obviously gathered tons of knowledge over the years. Behind his astute character, one senses that as a person who oversees the church, there is much he could reveal to us. Gennett's home is nestled underneath the big Red Rock Cliff, pretty much the type of cliff from which the churches were hewn. Although Father Gennett has the enormous task of looking after the precious treasure, he, however, lives a rather simple and humble life. Whereas many people here farm mainly cereals and food crops, Father Gennett chose a rather unique crop. He grows an orchard and tends to his fruit trees with care and pride.
أفتم حدارنا هذا خن كان دجنا زيلنا على المعخة يوم من كل شيء ما يتجني يوم كنت ديوم لله ثم قوي أخوان أكاري أخوان الرانشي أخوان يا بنانا يا أخوان قش يا أخوان كله بزياتهم جنا كل شيء ما يتجني يوم كل شيء تغمي يوم مالتي أنا محدار خوينا يا متمتميات أنتي ما شرح إذا وزخزخ تيله وتتوات هجرة كونوا وما رأي إليه محدار تخوينس كل ما يسرح كسرح له كلمة تفرتسه كسرح له تصرح يجن وزي كويس سرح الليل من أنت تفرتسه كسرح لا كل ما راح تكون لك هاي اللي تهجي بوز مخنيات زي جن بخطية تتكملت تطيب هذا تقولون
Farm work is done for today because tomorrow is a special day called Timkat. Timkat is an Amharic word meaning Epiphany. Epiphany in the Christian faith means appearance of God in the Holy Spirit, symbolized by a white dove. This tradition has been kept and observed for hundreds of generations by the Ethiopian people since the advent of Christianity. Father Gennett's duty is partly to lead the church in remembering this great event. But first, he must go and consult about how the event will be conducted with 86-year-old Father Bere, who lives in a humble cottage barely 100 meters from the ancient church. At 86 years old, Father Bere is, unfortunately, bedridden. He served the church for more than 45 years before arthritis finally confined him to his bed.
My name is Father Gabriel Xavier Berhe, Gospel and Holy Bible preacher.
Although his body has let him down physically, mentally he is still very succinct.
Before I know the English language, I was a villager. I entered to monastery place in Eritrea. I learned in monastery in a spiritual way. I attended many books, songs and many things. I stayed until 12 years at the monastery place. But when I saw everything, it can't be fulfilled to my body. I left the monastery. I entered school. When I finish my work, everything just as it is time arrived, just I return back to the church.
fluent in 4 international languages, English, Italian, French and German, Father Bere handed over the priesthood to Father Gennett. Every year, a day before Timkat or Epiphany, since Father Bere was confined to his bed, Father Gennett visits Bere to agree on how the event will be conducted. They compare thoughts based on what is happening in the village presently. Theirs is a fine relationship where the mentee continues to consult with the mentor.
نقول لهم نجار يمال لهم مالتيانا ياو لدلين نجار تقال الزهري هون نرى داينا كوامي والسرية إذا قررنا جن ولكن قام الحظ واحد حرق زيديو يوم كذا ما تأيق تسمع صندقنا يا لهم لدلي تخوين لا ومريها أو زينيو خمي لهم ناي فقري محزنة تخون دقنا حرق عينت كوينا أنا نخدم على تيوز بوتاز كوينا
نعم حيشنا تخدنا تسلست ساعات كل علي زول نجارات قلت يفهم بقام صلوتك قداسي براشي معي انت غيركم بتاع مصبو يحبس
Father Gennett must now confirm that the tents where the Ark of the Covenant will rest has been built by the shores of the river. With just a couple of deacons and volunteers, they erect the tent. All across the villages, the people are preparing to observe this holy day. Mulgita, the local musician, is also busy preparing for the event. He is rehearsing at the local playground.
كصبو الموسيقى خلطو نزخل نغرات ما انا بطعمي لدبرن ساعات نيرو يدبرني نيرو كدبرن نهالو بغروينا غيرنا غروينا ጨፍሊقنا ترشوا سارحنا نزناغعلو كم حد مزناغع غيرنا نوسدو كمو كدبرن نهالو بزيتات نيجر تريننج ناغوركو ناتلامودكو ያው ክስፋ حزب زخونه تازي ناي زحبرتسل مغلغلاي كوين اذن ياخو حزي بسرون حدا نجر نحنا أنا بالسنة الجزء ما نجر حلفوا يتولكون مجنانا يكونن مكنياتهم تأيو تاين حلفون يرنا مسلكا سوي كازي تدلي سرحتات تقمزي ولو مسنا زيد لي سرحتات إن حلفنا بزح نجر مالتي إننا ترى لك حزقن تلوتي لو تكركب بزل أنس بمنتاي نجر لو تكركب زنهني لب نبعلي تحسسها نجدن بزي بموسيقى خوينا تساريحه استوسنك بز نجار زين تتراويحه بمقصالخه موسنو خندينا ايو هذا ما تقبل
At the old church elders from the surrounding churches have assembled, some from as far as 30 kilometers, and the local villagers have gathered to prepare for the removal of the ark from the church sanctuary. They are preparing for the 5-kilometer walk through the villages to the banks of the river. Father Gennett's responsibility is to ensure that everyone is lined up and ready. The Ark of the Covenant is always kept at the center of the procession. It is the centerpiece of this event. What one finds curious is what the ark is all about.
ታወት ላይ ይቀደስን አይወደስም ጥንቀት ቢልናለና ተጠንቀት ግን ታወት ይስካ ይቀደስ ይወደስ
Off camera, one of the priests told us that the reason they have so many replicas of the ark is because the original ark had to be hidden, and the best way was to hide it in a forest of replicas. The best place to hide a tree is in the forest, he said. So, for all intents and purposes, we could be witnessing the original ark from Solomon's times being ferried by these very worthy holy men.
There is no report that the ark was carried away or destroyed or hidden. The ark disappeared, and we do not know what happened to it. The most important object is the world.
Soon the procession has arrived at the spot next to the river. The ark enters the tent, and Father Gennett and the other priests from all the other villages will keep vigil all night to guard the ark until the next morning, when the actual ceremony will take place. Early morning, the elders who have kept vigil are busy saying their prayers, while some clean up in preparation for the long day and great ceremony that is to take place. We are told that Father Gennett left at 3 a.m. to catch some sleep so he can manage the day's ceremony. Meanwhile at the tent, preparations are underway, and slowly the crowds begin to arrive for the big event. Ordinarily, in Orthodox religion, this holy day is considered sacred. It used to be considered irreverent to work on such a day. But 5 miles away from the Timkat celebration, Mulgita, our musician, is busy at his farm.
ድርቅ ክበሃል ተለሲ ዝነበረን ችግርስ የጋጥመን ክለካስ በገንዘብ ሕጽረት ድዩ ወይም ብናይ ቤተሰብ ስድራ ጸገም ድዩ ወይ ሓደ ነገር ድዩ አርኪውን ነው ነይሩ ካፍቲ ነበረ ድርቅ ስለኸንወጽና ገደና.
Today, Mulgita, like many of his countrymen, have taken up farming fully, to the point that Ethiopia has become self-sufficient in food production. But for now, Mulgita must make his way to the celebration of Timkat, where the whole village has now assembled and the prayers have begun in earnest. The whole village is represented here. Timkat is a commemorative event. It's a reminder about an event that took place more than 2,000 years ago in a faraway land, but which has become such an integral part of the people's traditions. The priest leads the prayers. The audience repeat the chants, and then again the priest leads in the reading of scriptures.
معلتي لو معلتي وتمالتي كم غلبوي تاكمرت لت مغلف لت مغلاتا معلتي حزب كريستيان ሃይማኖታዊ ወላ ሓዘ ብወፃ የለ በኢትዮጵያ የለ ማንም የለ ሃይማኖታዊ ወላ ሓዘ 11 ጥሪ ይኽበራ ጀታ ስለተጠመቀላታ ማልቲ.
The ceremony now moves closer to the river, and the priest places a burning cloth into the water.
امسايا تبحر بحرላ ተሓጢያ ተባለላ ታ እምነ ርካቤት ባህል ነገር ደምሲሶ ጀታ ወፂ መብራት ሒዙ ወፂ የለ አዳም ሄዋን ወፂ የምገነት እቲው መፍት መብራት ለለው ቦታ ማለት ያምሳያ ተመራቲ.
Finally, it's time for all to symbolically get rebaptized again. It's a free-for-all event, but the ones who really experience the dip are the young children. They get the full immersion.
It is Epiphany. The name Timkat means it's Epiphany. But we have different kinds of Timkat. You can spread your water. You can, or even also you can dive yourself. Or some people also, they can baptize. The priest, you can, like Sons the Adventists, they do like that. First of all, you must be washed yourself. If you do not wash yourself, you can't enter to many people. But if you are clean man, everyone can wants to impress you. And Timkat also, this is a morality, my dear. You must be holy. This is the Lord Christ say like that. We must holify ourselves in everything.
After the immersion in the river and several symbolic baths, the whole village settles to celebrate with a meal, and in an amazing display of true spirit of community, love and sharing, dots of villagers gather in groups to eat the food that they had brought with them to share together. Could it be that it's because of the fact that they have kept their traditions and that religion has served to cement a sense of belonging?
أوكاري بوتا يلن أوز بوتا ذيكن فقر الله عندنا الله كاش مسكاشي يهون بيمنان حبير كام سعوي أنا استلنا جنا مسحزن ورسع كرسي مالتي.
Everyone, in spite of class and status, shares in the opportunity, and this generosity is extended to the poor who are busy getting food from everyone. After the meals, the tents must be brought down. The ark must begin the journey back to its rightful place. The whole village is in song and dance, and they begin to file once again, heading back to the sanctuary. Once again, the ark is at the center of the travel back. Father Bere and Gennett agree on many things, but on one issue about the significance of the ark, there is a difference of opinion.
እንደገና ልጭዋይ ንገርን አብነት ቤተ ክርስቲያን ኩለና ናቲና ቤተ መቅደስ ግን ሳቱ ቤተ አጥዋል አነ ካህን ግን ያትየ አምሳያን ሰዩ ኮወሪዩ ማንንም አይፈልጦ አነ ግን ካህናት ምስካህናት ፈልጦ ጳጳስ ፈልጦ ንጉስ ላይ ፈልጦ ክልክል ምስጥረ ካህናት ያይገለጽ ይከለከለ
The lost ark. What does it mean? Lost is what? The ark of covenant is no one can see it or no one can get it.
በቃ እዚህ ባህል እዚህ በጣም ባንቆታይና እንጽባዩ ብደስታ በቃ አመት በዓል ወይስ አብል መጸለ ጊዜ ያው ባንቆታይና እንጽባዩ.
Although observing these religious traditions has kept the community together, through Mulgita and the youth, one senses the fading away of traditions. The real meaning of the event is lost to him.
Timkat ማለት ያው ነና ብንገልጸው ሰናና ብዙሕ ኳት ታሪክ መግለጽ ብዙ ነገር እዚ በሙዚቃ ጨዋታ ለኸንገልጸው እንኸል ነበር ያው ትናይ ውሽጥ ሆነታት ብዙ ናይቶም አበይቲ
እትፈልልይ እታዩ ተመፍተ ጨራጣ ነውራ ናሽተዩ አበይቲ ግን ትታዋት አኽቢሮም ለዓመት ኸምዚ አጽንሐና ላውሉ ለትታዋት ከኸውሮ ለትታዋት ክልምኑ ጸሎት ላገወሩ የምላደየው አበይቲ.
By now, the ark is safely inside the old church again. But one still wonders what really is the ark, what is inside it, and where in the world did the original ark get hidden.
ታወት እንደገና ነመን መሆን ጻፈይ አብነት ታወት ወይና ሚካኤል ተሆይኑ ወይና ገብርኤል ተሆይኑ ወይና ማርያም ተሆይኑ كالي لصحف الله خقلص ግን አይخلي لك መልኩ እንደገና خقلص አይخلين حور እንደገና እዚህ حور لك خقلص አይخلين
Although Gennett is deeply religious, he is still open to the obvious change that is coming with modern education through his sons.
ያው ዶክተርና ከመህርተ ሆይናም ነገና ዶክተርና ከመህረምየ ፈቀደለም ማለት ከመህረምየ ወጻ ኸባየ ማለት ዶክተርና ከመህርተ ሆይና ወጻ ኸባየ ብናየ ደረጃ እንኳን ያው በተለ በዲቁና ክሻቅስና መሪሖ ማለት ትናየተ ክርስቲያን እግዚአብሔር ለሃጎግ ህግር ሆነ ኩሉ ሰማይ መሬት ፈጠረ እግዚአብሔር ቃችዳኒ ትናየገ እግዚአብሔር ሐዲ ካላብ ካለ ከዘንብር ትምህርት ግን ያው ተቀላሎ አማሊክ ስነጠው ስለሆነ ይምባይ አማሊክ خدلو تتفليط له بنفس يتقميو تلبسو يتقمي فانت عينت.
Father Gennett's dilemma represents the age-old struggle in Africa between modernity in foreign education against the abandoning of old cultural religious practices and traditions. But the good people of Abraha Watsbeha are managing this delicate balance by keeping tradition through religion. And so Mulgita continues to entertain his people with his music that has been passed on from generation to generation. The bedridden Father Bere continues even in spite of his sickly state to serve his people and to point them to God.
Don't seek art. The art is in your heart. About this time, they say, about 100 writers, they wrote on the ark. They wrote 0, they become on this bank, just they didn't close. Why? 0, they didn't close. From these 200 or 400 writers about the lost ark, they didn't classify it. Maybe in the Jews, in themselves, maybe. But you can't find, and you can't search just to get an ark or something like that. The ark is, this is. What is the ark? Navrasa? What is the ark? Naxo? What is the ark? In Sana Churkos? Don't waste your time, your money, or don't waste your money on it.
Father Gennett continues to keep the traditions. His job as the keeper of the ark is multifaceted. In a trip to the local museum in the church where Father Gennett insists we must see, he gathers a group of young Ethiopians and shows them the significance of all the old artifacts. He is keeping the knowledge of tradition and religion going strong. Father Gennett continues to ensure that the world, and indeed the future generation, recognizes that Ethiopia has an incredibly rich historical heritage. Hopefully, this will continue to keep the communities together for hundreds of years to come, even if we do not unravel the mystery of the Ark of the Covenant.